For machine electrification, I think a lot of it comes down to there are two main drivers. One is the financial implications of zero emission solutions, and the other side is around productivity. So if you look at the financial aspects, you have on one end you have the cost of the vehicles, you have the cost of recharging versus refueling, but you also have on the income side, is it possible for you to work different hours because of you have more quiet vehicles? Is it possible for you to work in areas that are otherwise restricted to you? In Europe, we start seeing a lot of inner city regulations impacting work sites and so on, that where electric vehicles can be used and the diesel vehicle cannot. So I think there's a question there around what is happening, what will happen here in the US over the you certainly also have a regulatory aspect where we've seen certain states looking at regulating for electric machinery, which of course also can have a very large impact for end users that are operating in those states. But the other aspect that is quite interesting, I think, is really around productivity, where you can make machinery that has more functionality or is easier to use, faster acceleration, better low speed control, to a point where the operator is just a lot more efficient at his work running an electric machine compared to a conventional drivetrain. So I do, when you talk about sort of a 5-year horizon, I think that's an area where we will see progress, where the manufacturers will not just talk about economics and low cost of operation, but actually look at what are the areas where the electric machine is actually better and more suited for its use. The product that will see the most change in such a relatively short time period will continue to be the batteries. There will be continuing to get cheaper, more compact, faster charging, so on. I don't foresee any major technology shifts on hardware like electronics and motors and so on, just because these are so mature technologies. I think it's the combination of electrification and automation, where you can either fully automate machinery or you can do semi-automation, where you automate certain functions for the user. Maybe it's not a great example, but I'll give an example from the electric forklift industry, where maybe you are suddenly automating the lift height of the forks. So instead of having the operator trying to put exactly the right lift height before going in and picking up the pallet, is just pushing a button. I'm lifting up a pallet from the 5th level in the warehouse, and the forks will automatically go up and find opening for the pallet. Those are examples of things that you can typically do with the electric system and the integration of systems in the vehicle. We start seeing more and more interest from our customers as well around how do you address cybersecurity questions in these systems, and making sure that it can't be compromised. At the simple level, it's really around, okay, so if the vehicle isn't connected, it's of course a whole lot easier to protect it. But even there, how do you make sure that no one willingly or unwillingly are doing, let's say, a software update that has unintended consequences? But then as soon as you start adding connectivity, you can certainly add a lot of functionality to the vehicle, but you're also now creating another layer of risk. How do you make sure that you are protected from bad actors, but you need to be protected also from people who try to do a good thing but inadvertently creates a problem by, downloading a software version that hasn't been tested enough. These are absolutely things where it takes a lot of considerations. Within our side of the business on the Zappi Group, the good thing, if you wish, is that these are requirements that have been in place for quite a long time for the on-highway business that we do on the truck and bus side. So when these requirements are now coming in also on off-highway applications, it's not new. It's not an unknown. But I think it will definitely cause challenges for a lot of both customers and competitors, because these are really, really complex areas, and it takes a lot of time and effort to implement safe and secure systems. So it's been a really interesting few years, because you have had these big shifts. You had the supply chain crisis in the aftermath of the pandemic, and then you had a strange lull for some time where companies didn't quite know what to do next. So 23, 24, there was a lot of hesitation. What should we be doing? Where should we focus our resources? And it's quite recently, I would say, that the market has come back to really starting to look at what is our next generation vehicles going to look like? What kind of energy systems should we have? What should the architecture look like? What kind of features do we need? And how will our products differentiate from our competitors? And it feels like that's been kind of a 2025 market shift that these things have been re-emerging. The unpredictability of tariffs and trade war, where on the electrification side you have things like battery packs or battery cells coming out of China. You have other components that are coming from various places around the world, whether it's China, India, other low-cost regions of the world. And suddenly you find that this isn't so cheap and easy anymore. So I think another thing that has had great impact over the last 12 months or something like that is really just a question for the OEMs around how are we adapting to this landscape? What is my supply chain looking like, and how is that impacting our cost and our competitiveness compared to the competition? And you may have certain aspects of it that is a problem area. My costs are going up because I'm using components, and whether those components are coming from what today is high tariff countries, or whether they are domestic components, but they are still using materials and parts that are having tariff impact. These might be a negative consequence. But on the other hand, you might also see areas where basically your competitors are hurting worse because you are competing against global competitors that were importing complete machines, complete vehicles, and they are then hit even more by the tariffs and trade wars. So, if we specifically discuss the forklift market as an example, yes, maybe it does hurt you that you are using motors that are using rare earth magnets, where the magnet materials see a lot of tariff costs added to it. But at the same time, your competitive position might have improved because the all of the companies that have been gaining market share importing really low-end, low-price Chinese products, suddenly that the economics of that doesn't look all that enticing anymore.